all for joining us this evening. Happy Valentine's Day if you're celebrating the great Saint Valentine. And if not, happy 14th of February and Indie Pie of February 2023. Let's kick this off. All right. We do have a very loyal tribe. I do want to say happy Valentine's Day to everyone. We tried to come up with some witty Python Valentine's Day memes. So yeah, I was also thinking the same thing. If you write this as while X, you get an infinite loop. Of course, I infinitely love you all. So I want to thank you all for being with us and supporting us. Up until May 2023, this will be celebrating 15 years for Indie Pie. So thank you all for being part of this amazing tribe. It's just been tons and tons of fun to do this for everybody, and I've enjoyed every year we have done it. I want to remind everyone, go ahead and there's a bit.ly link here. We'll post it into the Zoom Slack. If you want to ask questions, the best place to do it, if you don't want to raise your hand and turn on your camera and ask the question personally, would be to go ahead and jump into the Indie Pie Slack. So there's an inviter link there that will get you on the Slack. If you're not, feel free to ask them right in the general channel. It's a very open forum, very low traffic, and a great place to ask questions generally after the meetings and in between the meetings. So it's a great place for us to all meet up. If you are on social media, you can follow Indie Pie at the Indie Pie username. And then also, if you're live tweeting tonight's event, we have the Indie Pie hashtag. So I don't know, is Cameron live tweeting tonight for us, Laura?
Nope, Cameron will not be here, but I will be covering.
Laura will be live tweeting. So yeah, there'll be some live tweeting going on the Indie Pie Twitter, and then you can follow along with that hashtag. I want to thank our sponsors because this wouldn't be possible without that. So Indie Pie is organized by 6 Feet Up, a company dedicated to making the world a better place by accelerating tech leaders' impact. At 6 Feet Up, our engineers specialize in app development, AI, big data, and cloud technology. Our impactful clients focus on climate action, clean energy, and initiatives that benefit humankind. I'm Calvin Hendricks Parker, and I co-founded 6 Feet Up in 1999, and I've been the CTO ever since. So I want to thank 6 Feet Up for making this possible. I want to thank our platinum sponsor. So if you hang around right after David's talk, we'll do a couple door prize drawings. So JetBrains always gives us a couple PyCharm professional licenses. So hang around for that, and we'll make sure you all come away with something in addition to the amazing knowledge that David's going to convey to you. So stay around, you might get a PyCharm license. And I want to thank our bronze sponsors, Reify Health and JFrog. So Reify Health most likely is hiring. They've been hiring now for the last 2 years, and we love getting them people from our community. And then JFrog has always been a great sponsor. And then for like they're going on year 3 now, I think, for JFrog, which is awesome. And there'll be a door prize drawing gift from JFrog as well. I think it's the Pi Portal. They've been giving away the Adafruit Pi Portal, which are hard to get. So if somehow they got them, you want to win that prize because it's a pretty cool device. If you all would love to be a sponsor and give away cool stuff or just support the initiatives we're doing here at Indie Pie, make sure you go to this address or email Laura at 6 Feet Up, and we will get you hooked up and on our list of awesome sponsors, because that is the best way to be a good person in our community. And if you want to speak, we actually take all of our presentation submissions over PaperCall. So if you want to go to papercall.io/IndiePie, you can actually submit a talk for, actually, we're looking for someone for April. So coming right up, we've got somebody for March. We're looking for April and anything in the future. So if you want to give a talk, we would love to have you. If you're just thinking about giving a talk and have questions, jump in the Slack, come find Laura or I, and pitch your idea or ask for some help in refining the idea. We'd love to get new speakers kind of up through the ranks as well. You don't have to be a super seasoned, super senior speaker. All folks are welcome to speak here at Indie Pie, and we encourage it. And on that Slack channel, we also have a jobs channel. So if you are hiring, please, please, please go post your jobs in that job channel. There are certainly members of our community who are looking for their next opportunities. And if you're in that boat of looking for an opportunity, go ahead and post in that channel too. You may get connected with an awesome next career opportunity. It could possibly change your life. All right, last but certainly not least is Python Web Conference 2023. This is our 5th year to do Python Web Conf. I am incredible. Again, I'm always excited, but I'm incredibly excited now because it's Python Web Conference season. In just a few weeks, March 13th to the 17th, it will be Python Web Conference. If you are tweeting about this, make sure you use the PWC 2023 hashtag. Indie Pie is a proud community sponsor. Definitely go check out the other sponsors who are part of the fun Python Web Conference. And because you are part of the IndiePie tribe, we have a 15% off discount for you all. If you use that IndiePie at PWC 2023 code when you check out, you'll get a 15% off discount. All of the speakers have been announced and are up on the site. All the talk abstracts, I think, are also up. The schedule is coming when, Laura? We just kind of
Probably
finalized
next
it
week.
next week, early next week.
Today.
We kind of finalized it like today and tomorrow-ish, but the actual schedule will be up. But it's 5 days of talks. It's half days every day. There's going to be 10 keynote speakers, 2 every day. There's going to be awesome tutorials. We've got some really incredible folks. For example, Mike Bayer, the creator of SQL Alchemy, they just released SQL Alchemy 2.0. So if you actually want to get a tutorial on the latest features that are in SQL Alchemy, that is going to be a huge draw for sure. He's a really accessible speaker, and as a tutorial, you get full access to him to hang out, ask questions, interact, do everything, real time during the conference. And then there'll be tons of socials. So if you want to get to know the Python community better, come hang out with the socials. I see David's shaking his head yes, because it's a lot of fun. We're going to do some origami and do some kind of speed trivia type stuff, like some networking breakout rooms. I just kind of hinted at one that we may be doing. We're talking about possibly doing a trivia night one of the evenings or one of the afternoons for you. So make sure you come and hang out and stay for all the fun things that we're going to do. All right. Whew, that's enough for me. I've definitely talked long enough. Let's get on with actually why we're here. We're joined by David Soul, who's been a wonderful member of our community. I think you started coming when the pandemic really hit. Is that correct,
Right,
David?
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, our international community just blossomed, and David has been an absolute regular, and I'm so excited that you're here to speak this time. You spoke last year at Python Web Conference because you're wearing the fabulous jersey, and I'm excited to have you with us tonight. So tonight, I'm going to let you take it away.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to talk to all of you today. Thank you very much for the opportunity. You will have to excuse me if I sound weird and if I cough a little. I'm a little bit sick, but nothing that can stop us. So today I want to talk to you about artificial intelligence services using the AWS cloud. We all know artificial intelligence, it's becoming a very popular topic. We can see all the things we can now have with artificial intelligence. And us as builders, as developers, we want to know what can we add to our application? What can we do to our systems, to our solutions, to add this kind of services, to make use of all of this new stuff? How hard can it be? Because I remember artificial intelligence 5 years ago, it was complex, it was hard, it was a lot of math. So we were worried about it. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is David Sol. I work at Wizeline, a very nice company here in Mexico. We have offices all over the world, in Vietnam. We have people in Spain, Colombia, Mexico, United States, for example, Canada. We have a new office there. I live with my wife, with one of my children. The other one already left the nest. And I have a great grandchild. That's the new stuff for me. I'm enjoying my grandchild a lot. It's wonderful. Also, I'm a AWS community builder, a great program. If you are interested in that, if you are interested in the cloud, please check with me. You can find me at Soldavid Cloud or in the Slack in the Pi channel. I read it every day. What can I tell you about me? I now think that the best way of presenting myself is by doing this. What's my favorite movie? What is my favorite comic, and which is my favorite book? I have to say the first two, the movie and the book, are from my youth. I saw them, I love them, and I have done so all my life. Planetary is a comic that came out at the end of last century, and I love it. It brought back the love from comics to me. But okay, we didn't come to talk about me. Just to be clear, what I'm using here is a Jupyter notebook. If you haven't done it, you haven't used them, believe me, they are wonderful. It's a way of doing a document which has on one side text, graphics. It's a document, but on the other side has live code. You can run code within this document. If you ask me, it's wonderful. It's science fiction. I always wanted to have these live documents, this document that change, that update itself. And that's a Jupyter notebook. In fact, everything we saw is written in Markdown. This is the code of the text we just saw. This is an image, for example. This is a title. This is a list. It's very easy. The objective is you can read it, even if it's not rendered. But okay, the fact is this Jupyter Notebook is in a repository. I put the link in Slack. You can download it from there. You can run everything we're going to run here. You can practice it on your house, at your speed. Everything we're doing works and works very fine. If you have any questions in Slack, you can ask them. Okay, AWS, and what I'm talking about in AWS applies to every cloud. It applies to Google Cloud, it applies to Azure, it applies even to other smaller providers. The important thing here is all of them has more or less the same services, and they more or less work the same. They have some different specific things in each provider, but it's nothing very important. All of them are the same. And what they give us are 3 layers of services. We have 3 options, 3 big options. The first option is infrastructure. They gave us access to virtual computing. We can ask them for virtual machines, and we can use them as we use a personal computer or a server in a data center. And this is very important. We would think that a virtual computer doesn't have a graphical processing card. We don't have these GPUs that help us do parallel processing in a very efficient way, which is needed to do machine learning in a professional manner, in a very efficient manner. But turns out they gave us virtual computers that has GPUs, that has these graphical processing units. And there are a lot of options. So before, if I wanted to do something of machine learning, I had to ask my company, I had to ask my boss, I had to ask my wife, hey, I want to buy this. I want to buy this computer, buy this graphical card. And my wife would look at my eyes and say, no, that's a toy for you, right? Or my boss would say, no, because it's a very big investment and we are not sure it's going to pay. So there was this barrier at the start, this cost barrier. We need to buy the computers to use them. And we need to justify that cost, and it was hard to do. Now we can ask the cloud providers, give me this computer, give me this graphical processing unit. I can use it, I can play with it, I can demonstrate what I can do, and then I destroy it, and I only pay for the hours I use it. So it's a low cost. The entry cost is very low. I can experiment, I can try. And I can tell you, I have messed up the operating system of a couple computers trying to install all the libraries to use machine learning. And if you mess up something, your operating system dies and you need to reinstall everything. So it's great to be able to ask for these virtual computers, which, and this is great, you can ask them ready, with all the drivers already installed, with all the frameworks already there, with Jupyter Notebook ready to use. They have these images of the operating system, and it's great that you can ask for the computer, ask for the image you need, and you can start working at that moment. Also, these cloud providers, and especially the big ones, especially Amazon and Google, they have built special processors. They have built custom-made processors for machine learning. These are not processors that you can buy in the street. They build them and they are renting them to us. And we can use them to make very efficient machine learning. And as always, we can ask for a computer, try them on, see if they work for our use case, and then drop them. And then say, okay, I like them, I don't like them, it's very expensive, it's cheaper than the other option. We can experiment. That's the great power of cloud. Okay, besides this basic level, this ground level that they gave us, we have a second level, which is machine learning services. We want to do machine learning. And one option is to ask for the computers, add them to some kind of management, add them for some kind of control, permissions, see the data where it is. I have to organize everything. I have to organize the security, the organization, the costs. Okay, they give me this second layer. In this second layer, which is called Amazon SageMaker, they are giving me this platform to do machine learning. And they are giving me the control for a whole team. We are beyond one person doing machine learning. And we are now with a company with different teams of people doing machine learning as a team. And we need to have audits, we need to have controls, we need to have security. That's what SageMaker gave us, this possibility of having everything integrated, everything controlled in a company. And for example, in Google, this is called Vertex. They are building these solutions for companies. But even more on top of them, we have artificial intelligence services. And that's what we are going to talk tonight. Most of what I'm going to talk is artificial intelligence services. And these are things that already exist. These are use cases. These are needs that all of us have, that many companies have, many people have, many applications want. So they exist. They already exist. They already are there, and we can just use them. And that is great, because it means we can give results very quickly. We can add this functionality to our applications really fast. That is wonderful, because we can make a proof of concept, we can make a demo, we can make a minimum viable product in very short time. We can prove that the application works very quickly. And we have, as it says there, vision, speech, text, search, chatbots, personalization, forecasting, and they are creating new services. And each one of these services includes a lot of sub-services, a lot of things we can do inside each of them. For example, some of these services have specific use cases for medical information. Perfect. I love it. David talks and talks and talks, and I don't see code, right? And he told us that the wonderful thing of Jupyter Notebooks is that there is code. Show me the code. This is the code. We're going to use PrettyPrint to print the response from the cloud in an easy to read way. We are going to use Peel, which is a great library for doing graphical stuff. You're going to see why we need to use it in a minute. And we are going to use my great friend, Boto3. And if you went to the Python Web Conference talk 2 years back, I think, I talk about Boto3 and how Boto3 is the library in Python that let us talk to the cloud in a very easy, efficient way. So Boto3 is going to be our connection to the cloud. We need to connect to the cloud an access key ID and an access key secret. We need credentials. Why? Because we need to pay. That's the quick answer. The cloud is not free. They are going to charge us for the things we do in the cloud. But let me tell you something. There is a free tier. If you tell me I want to run this at my home, I want to learn all of this, you can open a free account in AWS, and everything we're going to do here doesn't cost you anything. It's completely free because we are using the free tier. You need to be very careful with this access key ID and this access key secret, because if nefarious people, if a villain takes hold of these credentials, they can use your account for other kind of stuff that do have cost. But it's like any user and password. Be very careful with it, and never, for any reason, store these credentials in a repository. There are people, and this is real life, there are people with robots downloading every repository in GitHub looking for credentials. And the sad thing is they find them and they use them to whatever they want to use it, and you have to pay for it. The guy that lost the credentials, they get the invoice. So never store credentials in a repository. If you do store credentials in a repository, like I did in one moment, as fast as possible, delete this user, block the permissions of the user, and check that there is no invalid resources in the account. But the easiest way of controlling this is never store credentials in a repository. Never write something here. I add here these fields if you want to do it at your home. Just remember not to upload the credentials, not to commit them. But, and this I need to change in the future, what I did in this occasion was to create environment variables. Instead of using these variables here, I created environment variables with the access key and the secret key, and that's what we are going to use. So I don't need to write them in the repository anymore. I'm creating a session using these credentials to the cloud. And we are going to start with recognition. Recognition, it's a set of services of AWS about vision. It lets us identify things in an image or in a video. And we're going to have one example. I'm going to create a client for the recognition service. I'm going to use an image that comes in the repository called sample JPEG. I'm going to load the image and I'm going to display it. This is the image we are using as an example today, right? Who can tell me which movie is this?
I don't know. I recognize the actor, but I don't know the movie.
Well, the actors, at least these three guys are somewhat famous. I have to tell you the truth, I don't know the movie either. That's why I'm asking. No one?
What is it? Go ahead, tell us.
No, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? You
I
don't know what it's
the
from?
movie. I don't
Well,
know
can
the movie.
recognition tell us?
No, it doesn't tell you which movie comes from this image. No, not yet. Probably in the future, but not yet. You're going to see what it tells us. Okay, we're going to identify objects in the image. It's called tagging. We're going to load the image as bytes and send them to the cloud. And we're going to get a response. As we have this method, detect labels, we have a dozen different methods, right? The detect object, detect if the image includes nudity, detect if the image includes violence, detect it's a famous person. There are a lot of different methods we can use with recognition. It took 1 second, 1 second and a little bit more, right, to detect labels. What is the response we got? Okay, we have a model version. We have a response metadata that tells us that everything went okay. We have a status code 200. If my credentials were incorrect, I would have a 401, for example. Hey, you are not authenticated. And we got a lot of labels, right? Okay, that's interesting. What does the labels has? The labels tell me I found suits and my confidence is very high. I'm very certain that I found suits. I found formal wear, I found clothing, I found persons, and tells me I found a lot of things. Let's open all the things it found. Persons, man, adults, males, women, females, coats, jackets, faces, heads, executives, ties, accessories, people, group shot, smile, right? That's what it found. Very nice. It tells me more or less what is in the photograph, right? Sounds interesting. And remember, this was very fast, very easy. It's just one call. And it's really, really cheap to do one request. Even if you don't have free tier, even if you have to pay for it, it costs fractions of a cent to do this. Okay, let's see the first label. The first label says, I found, let me see, I found a suit. The parent is clothing and formal wear. It says that the confidence is very high. It says that the category is apparel and accessories. And it tells me the bounding box. Where did it found the suit? Between 0 and 1, right? It's percentage of the image. Where is the bounding box? And the confidence of each one of them. Ah, nice. If we got these boxes, then we could say, I want to write over the image. I want to take the real image size, W and H. It's going to be width and height. And I want to take the first label name, which is suit. And we want to take the first suit of the 5 it found. And I want to write a bounding box, draw it on top of the image. So it's going to tell me I found a suit. The bounding box is this. And the absolute values in pixels are these ones. So we want to draw a rectangle and draw text with that name on top of the image. And we got this. That's the first suit. Okay, we can do that not with one suit, we can do that with everything. So we say for every label, get the name, get all the instances. Remember, 5 suits. and draw the box, draw the rectangle, and draw the text for all of them. That's what it found. Suits, men, women, formal wear, group shot. Okay, they doesn't look really nice. I would love to see only men and women, for example. So what I'm going to do is to read the image again because we want the image to be clear. Perfect. We don't have anything written down. And I say, I only want, I don't want everything. I only want if name in men and women. We want to draw it. If not, ignore it. Sorry. There it is. So we are ignoring everything except men and women. The important thing here for me is that I mess up something. What did I mess up? Men and women. Let me check. Maybe the name is incorrect. It's for you to see that it's live. Let me see. We have all the labels here. And the names are, we have male and female. Okay, that's the issue. So we change this. Maybe I know what I mess up. I didn't create this, the drawing canvas. And I need male and female. Male and female. Perfect. What's the problem there? There is a small issue.
Small issue.
Tell me, what's the problem with it?
Well, David, I'm going to go out on a limb, and one of the women has been categorized as a male.
Exactly. If we check the confidence for that particular level, we will find that the confidence is low. It will tell us, okay, I think it's a male, but the confidence is low. And probably there exists another label that says, I think this is a female, but the confidence is even lower, right? But the fact is, it misclassified the image. It thinks it's a male, even if for us, it's very clear that it's a female. That's important. These services make mistakes. They are not perfect. We need to evaluate the results, in particular the confidence, to make sure we are controlling this kind of errors we're going to find. And this is not specific of these kind of services. This happens all the time, right? With every machine learning model you create, you are going to have these false positives. So what can you do in your home? You can take another image and try it and see what happens. You can try to find different labels, how to select which labels you're going to use. Maybe you can say, you know what? I don't want to write labels that are parents. Remember, we have the parents of a suit, that it's clothing and formal wear. Okay, every parent, ignore it. I only want the leaves, the children, the labels that are specific. We want to ignore several confidences, right? So only take into account of level of confidence, and on top of that, we ignore it. We can do a lot of stuff here, but the important thing is to get the labels is very easy. It's one call. It's very fast. It's very cheap. And we can do a lot with it. We can do great things. We can get the list of labels and classify the image based on the labels. A lot of things. Okay, nice images. Now we are going to audio. So, Laura, I want you to help me with something. I put the text, give me a cookie, but that's very boring. Let me do something. I mess up. I need to share with audio so you can hear what I'm doing. Give me a second. There it is. Now I'm sharing with audio. So, Laura, what do you want for it to say?
I would like a glass of wine.
Oh, nice.
I approve.
I would
It
like
is Valentine's Day.
a glass of wine. It is Valentine's Day. Perfect. So what are we doing here? We're opening a new client for the Poly service. Poly, it's the speech synthesizer service. We are going to ask it to synthesize speech. This is the text. We want an MP3, and we want to use the voice Joanna. Joanna means female voice in English. We also have Emma, which is another voice in English. Or if the text is Spanish, we could use Mia, Lupe, or Lucia, which involves Spanish, Castellano, the Spanish of Spain, or the Spanish neutral, or the Spanish of Mexico, for example. All the different voices and languages are documented in this page. And it let us know, okay, you want to synthesize the voice in German, you should use these two names, male and female. Every language supported has at least two names, which are the voice of a male, a voice of a female, and several languages has several voices. So we're going to synthesize the voice. If we got an error, it's going to show up here, which I guess it's not going to happen. It took 0.4 seconds, and we need to get from the response the audio stream. We are going to take that audio stream and we are going to save it into a file called speech MP3. We are going to open the file, read it, and we are going to play it. If we are in Windows 32, this is the way to play a sound. We are in Linux or Mac OS, this is the way of opening a sound. If everything goes okay, you should be able to hear what it says.
I would like a glass of wine. It is Valentine's Day.
Could you hear it?
I heard it.
Perfect. And as I told you, we can write in Spanish. ¿Qué pasó? Un vaso de vino es día de San Valentín. And we need Lupe as the voice because we are talking Spanish now. It's the same, 0.4 seconds.
Me gustaría un vaso de vino. Es día de San Valentín.
And that's the voice in Spanish. As you see, to synthesize this speech is really easy. You can send the text and you can get the audio of your blog, of your application. We have one person in Wizeline that is deaf, and he is telling us that being inclusive, adding these kind of solutions to our applications, that in this case helps people that can't see, to be able to say, okay, synthesize the sound so he hears what we are trying to tell him, is very important. And as you see, it's very easy. It's one call, one function that opens, processes this audio stream, and that's it. Transcribe is the opposite. We want to take audio and transform it into text. I have a file already that we're going to use. This file is in the repository too, and you could record whatever you want and try it at home.
Machine learning is a great topic.
Did you hear it? Hello.
Oh yeah, we heard it. It came through clear.
Perfect. We need a transcription job name. Why? Because this is a synchronous process. We're going to send this to the cloud, and they are going to process it, but they don't guarantee the time it's going to take. It could be very short, or it could be a long time. So we need to have the job name, because we are going to poll to see if it has finished. So we can use IndiePy take one, right? The important thing here is every time the job name has to be different. We are going to take the file, this audio, from a public cloud, sorry, from a public bucket. I have already uploaded the file. We tell them, okay, take the file from there, and it's going to wait until it says completed. When it says completed, it's going to tell us we are ready. So it's waiting for it to finish. It's in process, and every 10 seconds it's polling again to see if it has finished processing the audio. And it should take around 30 seconds, a minute at most. Perfect. We have the result. The result is in that file. We're going to get the file. It tells us the account we are using. It's telling us the job name. It's telling us the result, and it's telling us it's finished. That's all. This is what it takes to take an audio and get the result. This is the transcript of the audio. And if you remember,
Machine learning is a great topic.
it's exactly what we sent. But in fact, as happened with the images, there are confidences. If the audio is noisy, if the speech is garbled, if the accent is very strong, it can take, it can be difficult for the machine learning model to transcribe the audio. So it is going to tell us confidences less than 1. Here, as we are using an audio that was generated with Poly, it was very easy for it to find it. But if you see, it's telling us each word in which times happened and how confident it is in what it found. So we can make sure that what we are transcribing is correct or is good enough to be used. Okay, Translate. We want to translate from one language to another. So, who wants to tell me one phrase that we want to translate?
How about this, David? It's a beautiful evening for you to be my Valentine.
It is a
Beautiful evening.
beautiful evening for you to be my Valentine. And we want to translate it to French, right?
Bien sûr.
And there it is, the translation. Or maybe we want it in Spanish. Or we want to translate it to Swahili, if I remember correctly. Or we want to translate it to Japanese. Okay, Japanese is not JP. Target language JP does not exist. Let me check. How do I translate language codes? What's the code for Japanese? JA, like that. And that's the translation in Japanese, which I'm afraid I cannot translate for you.
Can you send that back through Polly and have it speak it to us?
Maybe. Let me try. Why not? Poly. And we want this text. And we want poly voices. AWS. Let me find the name for the Japanese voice. And it says that the voice in Japanese, it's Mizuki, Takumi, Kazuha, and Tomoko.
Wait,
Let's
that's
try the
one
first
name
one.
for the one voice?
No, they have 4 voices.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure which one is male and which one is female, so I'm taking the first one.
あなたが私のバレンタインになるのは美しい夜です。
It's female.
That's cool.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine this, you can create a translation and something that speaks the translation in a couple of lines of code. It's really easy. Okay, next one. We're getting ready for the end. Comprehend. Comprehend, it's understanding the code, semantic analysis. What are we saying? First, we have all of these, this class with all these methods. This is encapsulating a lot of the API calls. This code, it's an example of AWS and you can use it in your programs. As is, it works great. We have created the class. Now we're going to say, create one instance of that class using a client of Comprehend. This is the text we want to analyze, right? I copy it from a page of machine learning. And we're going to detect the language. We're going to detect the entities, key phrases, if it has personal identifiable information, what is the sentiment of it, and what are the syntax elements in the text. So we run this 1 second, and it tells me, I think 98, almost 99% accuracy. confidence that it's English. It says, I don't find entities. I found 3 phrases. I found machine learning. I found an important component, and I found the growing field. I didn't find personal identifiable information. It's empty. The sentiment is neutral. And let me see, what else did it found? Sentiment is neutral, and it says negative, very low, positive, low, mixed 5%, 6%, but neutral 99%. Syntax element, the first 3 are machine, a noun, learning, a noun is a verb, right? But we can tell it to analyze other languages, for example. We can say, I am very excited. No, no es excited to participate in the next Python web conference. Now, I am sure Laura will organize great activities. Let's see what it finds here. Can it use a German voice? No. The way we define the language is with the voice. If you see the call to Poly, in Poly I don't say speak in Japanese. If you check all of this, I never said Japanese. The way of saying Japanese is with the voice ID. The voice ID is the way of saying Japanese. So we cannot say Mizuki speak Spanish. We can put Spanish text here and it's going to make a mess of it. The way of telling the language is the name. Okay, where were we? Just analyzing this. So it says, I think it's English. I think he's talking about the Python web conference. I think it's talking about Python web conference, which is an event. I think he's talking about Laura, which is a person. It says the phrases, the important phrases are the next Python web conference, Laura, and great activities. There is personal identifiable information. It found a name in this position, which is Laura. It detects that my text is positive, 99.15%, and the other possibilities are very low, and this is what I'm talking about. Word by word, it says pronoun, verb, adverb, article, whatever. And it not only works with English. In fact, we could write something in Spanish. El concierto no fue de mi agrado, el sonido estaba muy bajo. The concert was not, I didn't like the concert because the sound was very low. No fue de mi agrado, el sonido está muy bajo. I'm going to take out the personal identifier information because it doesn't work in Spanish. Not yet. So it fails if you run it like that, but the other parts, they work. So it says, I think the language is Spanish, 99.7%. I think the important phrases are el concierto, the concert, mi agrado, I like it, and the sound, I think it's a negative negative text, and yes, it's negative, 99.73%. And it says L, a determinant, a noun concierto, and an adverb no. And as you can see, it's very easy to analyze text. This is used for comments. I want to quickly know if the comments are becoming negative or positive. All right. Then don't worry, that's the code part of the talk. We are almost there. I want to mention, we are not going to see, but we are going to mention SageMaker. SageMaker let us create our own models. We want to do a model very specific for our situation. It let us train the models, evaluate the models, know that they work okay, deploy them so we can use them as an API. We can see if this API is working fine, and we can start using it. There is a way of using SageMaker for free, completely free, without opening an AWS account, and it's called SageMaker Studio Lab. The only bad part is you need to request it. You need to enter this page and you need to say, please, I want to use this thing. And they're going to tell you, yes, of course, in 2 weeks, 2 months. And it's completely free. It's great. And if you want to learn more about creating your own models, you cannot go wrong with Hugging Face. It's a library of a lot of functions that help us do machine learning very quickly. Other cloud providers, this is not particular for AWS. You can find very similar services, very easy to use in Google Cloud, in Azure, and with other small services like Dataiku, Google Colab, JetBrains Datalore, Kaggle Paperspace, right? And if you want to run this notebook and you don't have a computer where to run it, you can use Binder. It's great because it lets you run notebooks from repositories without needing to have an account or pay anything. It's completely free. So that's everything for me. What do you think?
That's crazy. It's a really incredible set of tools you just showed us. So I have a quick question.
Yes.
Of the things you showed us, in general, once you're out of the free tier, or what does it take to get out of the free tier, and how much do they cost?
For example, let's see recognition pricing. In general, if you are doing an example like this, if you are doing a proof of concept, if you are doing this for an application that your family uses and has a dozen users, it's free, even if you are not in the free tier. The price is going to be so low that you pay 1 cent for. For example, first million images. Each image to do the tech labels cost 1/10 of a cent. You need to analyze 10 images to pay 1 cent. And that is for all the services. They cost less than a cent. If you ask me, the more expensive of them is one that takes images and get the data from the image. I forgot the name right now. It's up here. Textract. Textract, it costs like 10 cents the document. But you send the form and it tells you what fields the form has, and it gives you the dictionary telling you this form has this field and this is the content, this field and this is the content, even if the form is not nice, right? And well, personalized forecast, fraud detection, crowd group can be expensive. Now it goes the second part. If you are using this in production for real, if you have an application with thousands of users, this can quickly become very expensive. If you have thousands of users and you try to use these services, these AI services managed, it's going to be very expensive. You are going to start thinking in how can you optimize this and do it cheaper for cheap, because it can become very, very expensive.
So many of these tools, though, they're open source libraries that have been trained with data that Amazon has.
Exactly. Hugging Face has a lot of functions that do similar stuff.
But you would need to provide your own training data to it.
Yes, and you need to provide the computers to run it and
Yeah.
organize everything and make sure that it's up all the time. Yes.
So it may feel expensive from Amazon, but they're doing a lot for you.
And to tell you the truth, in a proof of concept, I want to learn, I want to impress girls, this is great.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Does anyone else have questions for David?
David, do you have a way to estimate how much this would be if you had like a proof of concept you wanted to run before it, gets out of hand? So it can kind of give you an
Yes,
estimate.
yes. Every cloud provider gives you cost tools for controlling things. You have the cost explorer in AWS. You have budgets. You can say, I want to make sure that the cost of recognition every day is below this number, and if it gets up over that number, I want to get an email and a Slack alert, an alert in my house, right? And you can estimate the cost because the pricing exists. All the pricing is public. You can check it. You only put poly pricing in, and it's going to tell you how much it costs. Sometimes it's hard to predict because you don't know how many requests you're going to get, but if you have the number of requests, you are perfectly clear how much is going to cost you.
Excellent. Anyone else have questions for David?
Yeah, just real quick. Can you speak a little bit more about the logistics of training your own model and like using some of those open source services for that?
Right. Imagine, and this is a use case. Imagine you are a biologist and you have a lot of specimens of crabs, right? You have a lot of crabs and you want to classify them very quickly and say, this is one kind of crab, this is another kind of crab. You can use recognition. Even recognition has a service when you write the images and tell a label. You say, this image is a biologist crab, and this image is a coconut crab, and this image is a red crab, a blue crab, whatever. And you have thousands of images. You tell recognition, okay, in this bucket, there are all of these images. This is the file with all the labels of each image. Learn them. And it's going to give you a model, and a specific model for you. That's the easiest way, but you can also use SageMaker. SageMaker, what it gives you, it's a virtual computer that has Jupyter Notebook installed and has the connectors to S3 to get the data. It can be big data, big files in Parquet or CSV or whatever you want, or images. And you have the access to the processors, to the graphical processing units, to the inference chips, and you use normal machine learning libraries, TensorFlow, PyTorch, Keras, and you run these models. And the model, what it's going to do is to get the data, try to learn from it, try to get a good result. And at the end, it's going to tell you, okay, I did a good job, I did a bad job. And you say, okay, try again and get improving, to a point where you say, I love it. In this moment, you have learned what I wanted you to learn. And it has a difficulty because you don't know how long that will take. And once you have this model, you have trained the model, you can deploy it. And that's something that SageMaker also has. It gives you the option to create an API with that model. So you give a new text, a new image, a new something, it processes it and gives you the result. But the important thing in SageMaker is the control, because you are talking about teams, you are talking about a company that has a lot of people working together and want to have audits, wants to have controls, want to have guardrails of what is happening. Perfect. The other option is to go down here and say, no, this is just for me, or we are a very small team. We don't have dozens of people. We are 3 guys. So we can perfectly keep control of everything, even if we don't have SageMaker, which don't tell anyone, but it's very expensive, especially when you have a lot of people. No, we want to do it by hand, and we are going to use these virtual computers with inference chips, with GPUs. We are going to use TensorFlow Keras. We are going to connect to S3 by hand, and we are going to do our training there. And says, oh, David, but you are not saying really how do I train a model? Believe me, we would need more than one talk to talk of everything that involves creating a model. Even with this, and let me put it in the chat in Slack. If you want to learn, if you want to start, the best library to start is not there. It's called scikit-learn. It's very powerful. It lets you do great things, but its thing is taught for starting, for new people, right? Because it can become very complex very quickly. It's not something that, it's not Python. We're not going to learn it quickly. It involves a lot of knowledge, involves a lot of math, involves a lot of feeling. All the objective of machine learning is resolving a problem that we cannot code. We cannot make a program and say, yes, the solution is this one. So we are talking about hard problems. So by definition, every model training is complex, because if it was easy, we wouldn't need machine learning. We would do a program and resolve the issue as we did in the past. Did I answer your question, even if poorly?
No, I think that's a good answer. I guess I was also curious about like for training your own models, how does that wear the hardware? If you have any familiarity with that.
Yes. Here is a subject of time. You have your computer in your house and you say, I want to train the model here because I don't have access or I don't want to pay for a bigger computer. You can do that. It's math. A computer can do it. The problem is that it's going to take hours, days, weeks, months, years. And when you use these GPUs, you train your model 10 times more fast, 100 times more fast. And when you use these specific inference chips, you are training hundreds of times faster, thousands of times faster. That's the difference. You can train a model in your computer, even a small computer. The problem is you are going to leave it running all night or probably a couple of days. which if you use a specific computer with particular requirements, these GPUs, these inference chips, the training can be very, very quick. It can take hours, minutes, seconds. And it has to do with the way machine learning works, which involve trying a lot of parameters, doing a lot of calculations, see if it works or not, and then try to do everything all over again and do it tens, hundreds, or thousands of times. So it's a lot of calculations. It's a very computing intensive process. So it helps a lot if you can do parallel processing.
It's nice when you have a data center full of thousands, tens of thousands of computers to just parallelize across.
Right. It's especially if you want to get the model trained fast enough.
Yeah.
Because if I train the model with the data of today and it's going to take 2 months, maybe in 2 months the result it's not applicable for the moment.
Yeah, that's a real good point.
So you need to do it faster, and that means you have to pay more to use these computers, these infrastructures that can parallelize the processing and get the result in 1 hour. So in 1 hour, you have a model that works.
Awesome. Any last burning questions for David?
On
If
the
not, we'll go-
services. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sorry.
Go ahead, Joe.
On the services, it looks like, I think it's Star Medical underneath transcribe and comprehend. Is that what
Right.
that's saying? And what does that mean?
These are transcribe, for example. Transcribe takes audio and writes it down, right?
Yeah.
Transcribe medical, it's a model that learns a lot of medical terms. What they discovered
Okay.
is that if you hear a doctor describing
Yep.
a sickness or symptoms, the
Mhm.
words they use are very particular. So the model says, no, I don't know what that means. He tells me about the ligament.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm not a doctor, but they say something very, the trapezoid muscle, and the model says, I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Right.
So Transcript Medical was trained with a lot of medical terminology.
Right.
Comprehend Medical, it's trained to understand what the doctors say in a diagnostic or in a report for an insurance.
Okay. So you
it
don't
has
have to
this-
have like a separate service that's like comprehend medical that you can use its training library or that's not the right
exactly.
word, but yeah.
It has this very specific terminology for medical. And I guess they are going to make new ones for specific use cases.
Mm-hmm. That would have
This
been my
was the
follow-up
first one.
question. Yeah. So it's like, do they have like a roadmap of what other industries that they were looking to
No,
do?
no, normally
That'd be
it's
too easy,
like
right?
a surprise. Hey, we got this one.
Yep.
You gotta save enough for announcements for reInvent.
Exactly. In fact, in one reInvent is when they announced this medical option.